thought you did. I was about to ask you.
No, I watched his. I saw him post house tour. I watched it to see.
Yeah.
I want to see. I was trying to see what.
Could you figure it out? How would you have been able to tell? What do you just like shout out the company?
Yeah, I was. Or they put stickers and stuff. They didn't really show where I.
Yo, FaZe. You're trying to start cooking, like, just for fun. Just for fun, in between, like, you know, instead of fucking, like, scrolling and shit like that, like, which whenever you're taking a break, just chill, just cook up. You down? Because if you are, I'll fucking get the cable to this and plug it in and set it up. And let's set up FL.
Bro, 1979? He's been the Prime Minister since 1979? Yeah. How?
He's like 80 something.
Huh?
He's like 80 years old.
But like, don't they change?
Oh, that's a hard wallpaper.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna use FL on your Mac?
I was thinking to learn Ableton.
Okay, isn't Ableton also on the Mac? Alright, but I'm saying, are you gonna use your Mac or PC to make music?
Mac.
Alright, cool. You got the... You're gonna plug this into that, like, dock thing on the side? Or like, so what's...
It's Type-C, right?
I mean, I'm gonna get a cable, but which cable should I get? USB-C or normal USB?
USB-C.
Alright. Yeah, there's no slots left on here.
I got them on the right side.
Yeah.
And I can order like more slots. I can get like bigger slots in. The fucked up part about cooking, right? Is like, I want to do it, but I don't know how to do it, so I gotta learn how to do it.
No, but we'll learn how to do it, but we'll learn how to do it in a way that's fun. Trust. We will make the process of learning how to make music more fun than anybody else does it, because everybody else does it for the wrong reasons. Everybody else goes in with, like, immediately they're tempted by, like, oh, I could become famous. That's immediately what goes into their mind and automatically starts fucking up their creativity, automatically starts going, what are people going to think about it? How can I appeal to the masses? How can I find a fucking audience? You know, what should my social medias look like for maximum engagement and shit like that?
Yeah.
That immediately it starts fucking up their ability to have fun. They optimize the fun out of the game.
That's the thing, is I just want to have fun with it.
Look, there's been so many times where we listen to artists who are just having fun, who are making fucking meme music, like not even giving a fuck or whatever. And yeah, we just get like a spark of like, you know what, this shit really isn't that hard, and they're having fun. Like, that's the way to do it in the studio. Like, you can hear how much fun he's having in the studio. We have those moments, but then they go away because, like, it happens less and less and less nowadays because so many people, like, their consciousness of the masses is going down. So I'm like, well, dude, we still have that level of consciousness. I can maintain that. So we can...
I got a question.
We can achieve a level of fun that, like, no one else in the entire industry is having.
No, dude, I agree. And, like... But, like, I like what you said. What do you mean everyone's, like, consciousness is, like, lowering? How does that impact music?
I mean, everyone's consciousness is lowering, meaning, like... What I mean by that is that if we're doing it for the right reasons, if we're playing this game the right way, what I mean by everyone's consciousness is going lower is that people are focused on like the things you can explain easily with words. They're not diving deep into the essences of things. So like they're playing the right games, they're playing them the wrong way. And you can tell someone, hey, play this game right. Like play this game. You know, do this thing with your life. Go do this job. You could give everyone the advice.
Repeat that in front of the last one.
Yeah, like you could give everyone the right advice on like what to do with like fucking like, you know, oh, go do this thing or that thing. But if they do it the wrong way, it doesn't matter if they're playing the right game. Like therapy as a concept is a great concept. So many people do it the wrong way. It completely ruined the industry of therapy. People use it as a crutch to fucking not have any real deep connection with people socially outside of someone that millennial they have to pay for it. So it's like they take all of the risk.
So like people use therapists to get like someone.
The game is right. The game is right.
Wait, I got a question.
Uh-huh.
So people are using therapists as a crutch to have someone to like be like I have a deep connection with.
To be authentic with. To be
but
themselves.
But you're literally it's like you're almost paying a hooker.
Exactly. You are. Yeah. Exactly.
Because bro, that therapist G shit, bro. As much as like as good of as a person they are, they can't give a fuck, bro. It's their job. If they were to, they'd be like broke. They can't be like, yeah, I'll stay with you for an extra 6 hours and make no money.
Yeah, and you know what?
No.
Guys are way more prone to mental illness. Girls go and see more psychiatrists because they feel a connection to them the same way people feel a connection to therapists. They feel, oh,
Wait,
this psychiatrist cares.
What's the difference between a psychiatrist?
Therapists can't diagnose you with. They can't prescribe you medication. Psychiatrists can prescribe you medication. Psychiatrists are the only ones who can. I mean, like doctors, obviously.
So
psychiatrists can prescribe you medication.
Were psychiatrists made it a term so that they can just have another way to sell drugs?
Yeah.
That's
Psychiatrists.
like bullshit.
Psychiatrist, fucking.
Psychiatrist is what therapists want to be. Psychiatrist is the next level of, oh, you're a therapist with authority.
A therapist will send you to a psychiatrist if it's too bad.
Is it?
Like, if you come to therapy and they can't help you, they'll send you to a psychiatrist.
Yeah, like get this nigga on some pills.
Like, Ryan had that happen to him. Ryan Donaldson.
Ryan Donaldson needs to beat the
But the idea of just taking what's on your mind and speaking it out there into the world is self-expression. It's an artistic expression.
Yeah, dude, like racism. It's an art.
And in the same way, how people are uncomfortable to say what's genuinely on their mind to the public, people are just as uncomfortable, if not more uncomfortable, to release their music.
One by one. One by one.
Oh, yeah, do one by one. On keys?
Nope.
Oh, it's
Oh, you're right. Dude.
Music is the same way. People are just as scared of being vulnerable and releasing their music because it's like, oh, this came from my soul. So it's like revealing the deepest parts of them. So they're just as insecure. It's the same shit. Both, like, speaking your mind like that and music are artistic self-expression.
Dude, because I have no problem speaking my mind.
And this
Liam's aware of that.
and when people rely too much on therapy, they become weaker. They forget how to have the strength to speak their minds in front of people who are not doing it for financial incentive.
Wait, explain
So-
the last line. Repeat that and then explain.
It doesn't matter. Your intuition of like having an instinct of, hey, therapy might have some fucking issues that people are not looking at because people treat it like a cult following where they'll never say anything bad about it. The instinct to question it and be skeptical is right. That's all that really matters. But what my
Like,
point,
I'm sure there's good therapists, but that's not the
of course, yeah. But what I'm saying is, the game is right. How people play it can be wrong.
Yeah.
So the level of consciousness in people is going down. They're focused too much on, oh, what game do I play, rather than how do you play it. And that's not a question you can answer with just words. People just want a quick answer. You need to be engaging with people and playing the games with other people and iron sharpening iron, helping each other out through these games to slowly get better through time, to develop an instinct for it, to develop like patterns and behaviors and learn lessons and things like that through it. Like that's where the real education on how to actually enjoy things and make the most of it comes into play.
I mean, dude, like,
So with making music, it's a great game. so many people fuck it up, and they optimize the fun out of it for themselves, and then they still don't find any success. So it's like you screwed yourself over, and you sold your soul, and you didn't make any money from it either way. But like, even if you make money from it, so fucking what? You're making money being a slave to a label and I don't care if somebody's independent and they're super famous, it doesn't fucking matter. People will come after you if you're famous in the music industry, and they will force you to make the kind of music that will lower the consciousness of the masses. If you're big enough, they won't let you exist in the music industry. If you genuinely push back, they might fucking just kill you, bro. Like, they don't want people to...
Who's they?
I mean, you could say the Jews if you want to. That's a good placeholder word for it. But I mean, because all these record labels, you look at the record labels, you look at the demographics, yeah. So the music is. I just wrote a thing about this. Look. I literally wrote this today. This is a note. Look, record labels are factory farms for domesticated humans. Like, you know, factory farms, they just give like pills and drugs to all these animals to fucking make them like docile and like, you know, sedated, so they don't have any animalistic urge to fight back or rebel or anything like that, and they just stay in their cage just fucking like zombies, brain dead. Record labels do that to people. Record labels treat humanity as a massive farm, and they're factory farming humans. And the drug is music. It bypasses all of your walls. It gets in immediately. It injects itself immediately into your mind and moves your mind. Listening to music is a form of submission.
Yeah, sure.
So, record labels...
I am submissing the chief.
So...
For real.
Record labels are using that to control culture. So, realistically, even in the best case scenario, if people want to fucking sell their soul in the music industry and, you know, try to appeal to the masses and all this shit, best case scenario, you're gonna have to live with the fact of like, there's people watching me all the time. There's people watching every move I make, and I cannot make the wrong move. What a miserable way to live.
Yeah.
Like, people have such a shit approach to making music. There's no other thing to do in the music industry than to have fun. There's only one thing to do that's actually worth doing, and it's do it for fun. You fun max. That's what music industry is for. That's what music is for. You fun max, nothing else fucking matters.
I agree. Well, dude, I mean, it's like, I think it's been like 6 months since I've been doing it. And I'm finally now getting the hang of it, and I'm like, okay, wait, now like, this is actually kind of fun. Like, I mean, I was having fun before, but like, alright, now I can kind of get creative with it. I'm like,
Oh yeah, it's art.
yeah, this martial art.
I mean, this is art too.
You know Miles?
Of course.
He's dropped the song.
You know Miles like mainstream.
Everybody hit it when we hit the sea line. Everybody doing when we hit the sea line. We about to walk around talking everybody hit the 4-leg sea line.
You're having fun.
My grandma, she a sea line and she fat as hell. Push my grandma down the stairs, she sound like this. My cousin don't speak English, she speaks sea lion. We don't speak English, she speaks sea lion. I try to get that green like a sea lion. I try to come in cash like a sea
The
lion.
music video is such shit.
Like a sea lion. She got ass.
Probably on the iPhone.
Sea lion. Everybody hit it when we hit the sea lion.
Bro, like, what the fuck are they, bro? These on the side of a highway? Like, the connection, like the 85 connector?
Everybody hit it when we hit the sea line. Everybody do it when we hit the sea line. We about to walk around talking.
Bro, they didn't play the song once when recording the music video.
No.
My cousin, he a sea lion. He sound
It's the
like
same 5 C's as we play. You notice that, right? It's the same
sea
5
lion. He
C's.
sound like it.
Now, I hear meme songs occasionally, And I fucking love it when you could hear them like laughing, like trying hard not to laugh while rapping.
Yeah, for real. Dude, we should go to a Mouse concert.
I would love to. My grandma called me to fucking
We should take Ron to that. And we should be like, yo, Ron is like genuinely the best artist, bro. Like, I know he's black, but like, you remember Michael Jackson? It's like that. It's like that.
You just kill us.
He'd be like,
You just like, y'all just don't have a shot. Y'all don't have a shit. They don't have
he's gonna
shit.
say, y'all are cooked.
He
He said, Liam pays, y'all are cooked.
Put y'all out of your misery.
Bitch, I'm in the field, nigga call me Indiana Jones. Feel like Soldier Boy today, so kiss me through the phone. Feel like Usher yesterday in the shower, bitch, I was burning. This nigga really think he in Indiana, he not Indiana Jones. This nigga thought he bought a Beagle, that nigga bought a dog. Tried to fit in a skinny hole when my dumb ass get stuck. Tried to buy a BMW, but I just bought a random truck. She keep calling my phone, I'm like, damn girl, what the fuck? Stop going to Taco Bell, why the fuck they have my stomach hurting? This girl asked for her number, I bought her working. My mama mad because she at home, her pockets hurting. If you don't give up on rapping, I swear one day it's gonna work, man.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creature.
This is Charlie Kirk. The 31-year-old right-wing political figure is about to attend his final debate. During August of 2025, he had announced that he was planning on visiting several countries
Yo,
over
Faze,
the coming months.
should I get like a long cable so that we could play it even while we're like sitting here, or should I just get a normal fucking cable just to leave it there? Alright.
We'll sit here on the lounge.
Debate series titled The American Comeback Tour, which began that past February.
His first stop of the season, located at Utah Valley University, didn't seem like a bad choice to campaign. There was a good amount of open space, security, and some vantage points for spectators to get a good look at what was going on.
However,
Charlie Kirk's
as
death
time
is playing
passed and
Minecraft.
mid-September rolled around,
Maddie
cracks
Davis.
started appearing in Kirk's plan. For one, a petition circulated in an attempt to get the university to cancel his tour, but they pressed onward with
Years, counting or not counting gang violence.
and then
Look at this shit.
Charlie Kirk was then shot in the neck.
That's
He
crazy.
profusely bleeding all over. The crowd
This is
started to
satire.
disperse as Charlie's team started to rush his limp body to the Timpanogos Regional Hospital. However, turns out if you've been in a car accident, it was too late. Charlie Kirk was later pronounced dead.
investigators soon found the shooter's rifle cartridges were engraved with various cryptic messages. These include, "Hey fascist, catch.
If you read this, you are gay. LMAO.
Oh Bella, chow. Bella, chow. Bella, chow, chow, chow."
Notices bulge. Oh, whoa. What's this?
Currently, it is suspected that a man named Tyler Robinson is responsible for them.
He was inside. Assad definitely shot him.
Masai, you think so?
Yeah, they just put that. He got shot. I think he got shot way farther.
Massage?
I think he got shot way farther away, and they just had that dude there as a dummy just to hold the rifle.
Wait. Okay, right. Mossad is the Jewish one, right?
Yeah, he's the only guy who gets sense.
In 1993, German engineer Rudolf Gattenbrink was inside the Great Pyramid of Giza studying an unexplored shaft in the Queen's Chamber. What's interesting about this shaft is that unlike the two shafts found in the King's Chamber, they don't open up to the outside. Instead, they seemingly go about 10 feet into the wall and lead to a dead end, meaning the purpose of them was still unknown. So Rudolph created a little robot that was equipped with a camera and a light small enough to fit inside of this 8-inch wide square shaft. And when they sent this robot into the tunnel, something happened that would change his life forever. Once the robot reached what was supposed to be the end of the shaft, they noticed that it kept going, but rather than continuing in a straight line, it actually ramped up at a 40-degree angle into a much longer, previously undiscovered section. And from the camera's feed, they could see that it went for another 90 yards before coming to a dead end, where the robot came up to what appeared to be a tiny limestone door with 2 copper handles embedded into it. This discovery baffled Rudolph and his team because metal has never been found anywhere else inside the Great Pyramid, which is supposed to be made entirely of limestone. And they could tell this was a door of some sort because it had a little bit of space around the edges, indicating there was likely something behind it. Was this door placed there after the pyramid was built, or was it intentionally put there to protect something? Either way, Rudolph had to know what was behind that door. That's when he asked Zahi Hawass, the Minister of Antiquities for the Egyptian government, for permission to investigate further and see what was behind the door.
Word to use. No.
But rather than giving him permission, Zahi, along with the Egyptian authorities, shut down Rudolph and his team and banned them from ever researching the site again.
There were quite a lot of problems between us about the question how to state the find.
Now, we've actually met Zahi before in my video about the Sphinx, and the truth is, Zahi, despite being the most famous archaeologist in Egypt, has a known history of suppressing any new evidence that may conflict with mainstream Egyptology.
When I do archaeology, you listen to me. Shut up.
But what you need to
It's like
realize
they-
is that the vast majority of
What?
mainstream
This
Egyptology
guy's the head of it. He's the protector. He doesn't want anybody discovering new stuff about it. He's
What? This fucking pyramid guy?
Yeah,
You saying he's like me?
yeah. He's like you.
Why is he like me?
This is how you act. This is
Between us about the question how to state the find.
Now, we've actually met Zahi before in my video about the Sphinx, and the truth is, Zahi, despite being the
Even
most
I'm not
famous
writing
archaeologist in Egypt, has a known history of suppressing any new evidence that may conflict with mainstream Egyptology.
When I do archaeology, you listen to me. Shut up.
But what you need to realize is that
That's
the
how I
vast
act.
majority of
Yeah.
mainstream Egyptology is based on ideas
get
that are
upset.
highly speculative at best,
Yeah, I know,
especially
right?
when it comes to the Great Pyramid. Because almost everything you've ever learned in school
gatekeeping
about
it,
it
bro.
are
This guy
not
knows.
proven facts, but rather are
Gatekeeping the
unproven
pyramid.
hypotheses based on circumstantial evidence
does
and
know.
perpetuated by Zahi at the top of the mainstream Egyptology pyramid. See what I did there? Now, according to
You know this
mainstream...
guy, the frog?
What?
This guy who's gatekeeping all the shit?
Nope.
He's one dude.
Scientists, the Great Pyramid of Giza was built about 4,500 years ago by the pharaoh Khufu, who wanted to use it as his tomb.
The Great Pyramids of Geezers.
20 years to complete. By the time
Hey,
it was
Geezah!
finished, the pyramid
Great
actually
Great
looked
Pyramids
much
of
different
Giza.
than it used to be because it was covered in a white, smooth limestone
Yo,
that went all the way up from the
free
base to
free
the
Giza,
castle,
man.
which
Egypt
is
should not be
famous
dealing with this.
That is, until
Free
somewhere in the
Giza.
1200s, a huge earthquake hit Egypt, causing most of the buildings in Cairo to collapse, along with some of these white limestones to break loose. Unfortunately for us, the Egyptians at the time decided to then strip off the rest of the white limestone along with the capstones so they could be used to help rebuild the city, leaving the blocky
What kind of
appearance that it
fucking
has today.
third
But here's
world
where
ass
things
thinking
start
is
to get
that?
murky. Mainstream Egyptologists will point to what looks to be a sarcophagus
Seriously.
located in the uppermost room known as the King's Chamber as hard proof that it had to have once been the resting place of the pharaoh Khufu. But what most people don't realize is that no mummy of anyone, let alone Khufu, has ever been found in the Great Pyramid. In fact, no mummies have been found in any pyramid. Another key to the mainstream hypothesis that this was once Khufu's tomb is that Khufu's name was found written multiple times on the inside walls of the Great Pyramid. But unlike most hieroglyphs that are usually carved directly into the stone, these inscriptions were literally just red paint or graffiti that someone painted
This'll
on the
get 'em.
walls potentially long after the pyramid was built. Now, I'm no Egyptologist, but if someone tags the side of a building and says Patrick James was here, does that automatically mean that I built the building? In fact, when it comes to the topic of hieroglyphs, no
Yo, bro,
hieroglyphs
pass
of
me that
any
pillow,
kind
Blake.
have ever been found carved into any wall inside
I'm
of
gonna put this at the
meaning that whoever built it didn't feel the need to put them there. And to take it a step further, no hieroglyphs specifically mentioning
just put it on that
who built
table.
the
We're gonna put it there
pyramids,
anyways. I'm gonna get the
how they
cable
did
tomorrow.
it, have ever been found anywhere in Egypt. To this day, the only legitimate reference to Khufu we've even found is this small statue, which may or may not actually be Khufu, and was found nowhere near the Great Pyramid. Once again, showing that these mainstream
that blanket.
theories about the Great Pyramid of
Right there.
Giza
Oh,
are
yeah.
nothing more than a weak
Giza.
hypothesis at best. Because when you take a second to really admire the sheer size of this monument, it really starts to make you question everything you've ever been
Dude, I
taught
need to
about
see it,
ancient
bro.
history.
That
Here's
shit's
one. The
insane.
Great Pyramid itself is made up of
Huge.
2.3 million large limestone blocks, with the stones ranging in size from 2 tons all the way up to 80 tons. And despite looking quite small from a distance, when up close to these limestone blocks, you realize how massive they actually are. Many of these stones were taken directly out of the bedrock from the Giza Plateau, but some of the larger ones that make up the intricate interior, weighing up to 80 tons, were somehow transported from a town 500 miles south of Giza. Kind of crazy to think about, because even if the mainstream Egyptologists are correct that the pyramid was built 4,500 years ago, it would still predate the invention of the wheel by roughly 300 years. Now, I'm not one to doubt the creativity of man, especially the ancient Egyptians, but in a day and age where we have airplanes, skyscrapers, and invisible internet waves delivering feed pics to people across the globe in an instant, moving an 80-ton rock, even with today's technology, is no small feat. See what I did there? For instance, here's an image of a 30-ton construction vehicle attempting and failing to move a large limestone rock. And here's a video showing that even our most powerful hydraulic planes struggle to lift rocks of this size. And those are steel cables, not the bullshit papyrus ropes the ancients supposedly used to drag these stones into place using wooden rollers and wet sand.
Now, Egyptologists will tell you that, they could move heavy blocks because they put them on wet sand. Well, maybe if you're just at ground level, that will do. But when you're 350 feet above the ground, as you are in the King's Chamber, that won't do at all.
I'm just going to make an educated guess and say that wooden rollers would stand zero chance of being placed under 80 tons of anything, which leads me to the cuts on these stones. Every stone making up the pyramid was not glued into place using concrete or mortar or anything like you'd expect. In reality, each side was cut so precisely and placed so delicately that the joints between every stone making up the pyramid fit so perfectly together like Legos that you can't even fit a razor blade between them. Meaning that this structure has literally withstood the test of time using nothing but its own weight and precision-made cuts. Something you can't necessarily say for any of the 100 plus pyramids built by copycat pyramid builders for over 700 years after the Great Pyramid. So how did the Egyptians cut each stone so perfectly? According to mainstream Egyptology, they used copper handsaws and chisels. And just to show you how utterly unrealistic this is, not long ago, one Egyptologist attempted to recreate the stone of the Sphinx using copper chisels, much like the ones the ancient Egyptians might have used. And after several days of hammering away at this stone non-stop, he barely made a dent in it.
After days of work, their copper chisels and stone pounders are barely making a dent.
Not only was the copper chisel not chipping away at the limestone very efficiently, but the chisel itself would become utterly useless after a few dozen strikes.
When Roger tries chisels made from bronze, the results are disappointing.
As you can see, we're leaving a lot of metal and very little stone is flaking out.
Eventually, the dude gave up on the chisels altogether and finished the project using a power saw. And since we're on the topic of saws, a completely different group of researchers created a large hand saw that was made of copper, much like the ancients would have used. And after several days of sawing back and forth with the combined efforts of multiple people, they could only cut the stone at a rate of about 4 millimeters per hour.
And if we see any progress in our lifetime, yes, if you came back in Noah's time, you would see about 4 millimeters cut down into the stone.
An alarmingly slow rate that doesn't make any sense when you closely examine some of the cuts made on these ancient stone blocks.
As you can see here, we achieved this in just a few days.
For example, this sarcophagus at a museum in Cairo was said to have been discarded in ancient times because on the bottom of it there's a cut that's about 3 feet long that was just ever so slightly off-center. So they abandoned it and tried again with a new piece. Here's why this doesn't make any sense. If they used copper saws to cut these stones, it's safe to assume they probably would have realized they were off-center long before getting 3 feet into the cut. Heck, even if they could cut 4 inches per hour, they would have still had time to correct the mistake, which tells me that whatever tool the ancient Egyptians used to cut these stones had to have been operating at a much faster rate. That, or they had the incompetent stoner Egyptian working on that one. Rock on, dude! And with all that being said, even if we accept that the pyramid was nothing more than a fancy tomb built with copper tools, how can we explain the fact that it only took them 20 years to build it? Math simply doesn't add up. Because let's say you were able to cut, transport, and place 10 stones a day, that means that to place 2.3 million stones, it would take you roughly 600 years. And this is assuming you don't make any mistakes along the way and keep continuously placing stones 24/7, 365 until it's done. And And to do this in just 20 years, they would have to place 315 stones every day without ever taking a break, using just ropes, pulleys, and ramps. And just to show you how utterly unrealistic this timeline is, here's some food for thought. The pyramids of Teotihuacan, Mexico, equally as impressive but nowhere near as large in size, took 150 years to complete. The Sydney Opera House took 14 years. The Panama Canal took 33 years. This clay quarry in France, that was a massive hole roughly the same size as the Great Pyramid, was contracted to be completely filled with dirt. And it took dump trucks dumping dirt into it like an assembly line every minute of every day, 12 full years to finish the job. So to tell me the ancient Egyptians precisely cut large 80-ton limestones, somehow transported them 500 miles, delicately constructing the pyramid piece by piece so perfectly you can't even fit a dollar bill between the stones in just 20 years' time, does not make any sense whatsoever. Now,
I'm not paying attention. I'm talking to Claude.
Maybe they could. I'm just doubting their ability to do it with the tools they had as quickly as they supposedly did. Especially when you consider how it was designed, from the slope angles to the dimensions.
Claude is a member of Squad.
Itself, nothing was done haphazardly.
You know what YouTube Premium?
I haven't
You
done YouTube.
fucking what the?
This is my first time looking up YouTube. I just typed in this.
In the 1940s, British airman and archaeologist Pete Groves was flying over the Great Pyramid when he noticed something odd. As he flew over the monument, he saw that the pyramid had what appeared to be 8.
It's because it's probably like sky notification. Bro, this is some good shit though. He's speaking on the video.
Yeah, I hear a little bit here and there. So lots to consume, but I'm just chilling.
Distinct sides, not 4 like it normally appears from the ground. And upon further examination, he found that these 8 sides were only visible at sunrise and sunset on the equinox, which only happens twice a year when the sun is directly above the Earth's equator. This would officially be the first time this phenomenon was documented in modern history, leading many to believe that maybe there's more to this structure than meets the eye. Was this design done intentionally? And if so, why was it only meant to be seen from the air when the airplane wasn't invented for another 4,400 years? Buckle up, because here's where things get crazy. When you look at the exact location of the Great Pyramid, you'll find that it actually sits at the geodesic center of all landmass on planet Earth, meaning that if you drew imaginary lines out of the side of the Great Pyramid that went all the way around the globe, those lines would touch more land than it would if the pyramid had been built at any other point on the planet. And that's not all. The Great Pyramid is also perfectly aligned to magnetic true north, with an accuracy of 3/60ths of 1 degree of latitude and longitude. That's an accuracy of 99.94%. In fact, it's so closely aligned to true north that we couldn't even tell how accurate it was until the invention of the modern day satellite. And to this day, it's still the most accurately aligned structure on the entire planet. For comparison, the Paris Observatory was built to be aligned to true north, but even with modern day technology, they can only get it to within 6/60ths of 1 degree, making the Great Pyramid twice as accurate. Now keep in mind that the ancient Egyptians were only supposed to have a basic understanding of math, probably no more complex than high school algebra, meaning they were supposed to be completely clueless about things like geometry and trigonometry, and they certainly wouldn't have known about mathematical constants like pi or phi, which were discovered thousands of years after the Great Pyramid was built. Yet both of these constants are seamlessly weaved into the structure's design. For example, pi is the ratio that explains the relationship of a circle's circumference to its radius. And if you made an imaginary circle that circumference was the same length as the perimeter of the Great Pyramid, the radius of that circle would equal the exact height of the Great Pyramid. And phi, known today as the golden ratio or Fibonacci sequence because it's responsible for the formation of life itself, from the human embryo all the way up to the formation of galaxies. Well, if you took the surface area of all 4 sides of the Great Pyramid and divided it by the surface area of the base, that gives you the number 1.618, or the golden ratio itself. And if your mind's not already spinning, if you look at the exact coordinates of where the pyramid is on a map, you'll get the number 29.9792458 degrees north. Ironically, this number is the exact same number as the speed of light when measured in meters per second, which is kind of crazy because the speed of light wasn't discovered until the 1600s. Surely, these couldn't all be a coincidence, right? Let's keep going. This pyramid I have in the background of my videos is actually a close representation of what the pyramid is built like. The Great Pyramid itself sits on a base called the socle. This is kind of what the sockle might look like, where you got the pyramid sitting on an actual platform like this. Now, this sockle is actually found to be so flat for the Great Pyramid that using lasers, we can measure that it's flat to within 1/4 of an inch. A level of precision that we can only reproduce today if we use the very lasers we use to see how flat this thing actually is. In its heyday, the sockle was actually perfectly flush with the white limestone that used to line the walls of the pyramid. But because those white limestones are no longer there, this actually gives us two different ways to measure the base of the pyramid. One measurement with the sockle and one measurement without it. Now, to fully appreciate what I'm about to tell you, we have to first discuss something that I know all my flat earthers out there are going to hate, the actual shape of the Earth. What you've got to understand is that the Earth is actually not a perfect sphere, because when it spins on its axis, the centrifugal force causes the Earth to bulge out at the equator, meaning the shape of the Earth is actually wider than it is tall. I didn't say flat. I did not say flat. In other words, if you took 1 square minute of latitude and longitude, the rectangle that's formed by this square minute is actually not a perfect square, because the latitude or north-south line is actually slightly shorter than the longitude or east-west line. So how does this relate to the Great Pyramid? Well, if you took 1 square minute of latitude and longitude and split it into 4 equal parts, the length of the latitude line would equal 3,022.940 feet, and the longitude line would equal 3,043.547 feet. Now, if you measure the perimeter of the pyramid without the sockle, aka the shorter measurement, you get the exact same number of feet as the shorter latitude line to within 4 decimal points. And the same goes for the perimeter with the sockle, which would give you the exact same distance as the longer longitude line with the same level of accuracy. So what does this even mean? It means that the pyramid itself is a scale model of planet Earth at the ratio of 1 to 43,200. Meaning that if you were to make a pyramid 43,200 times bigger than it is, it would exactly equal the size of the northern hemisphere of the planet, and it would be accurate to within 300 feet. Now here's why this is absolutely bonkers. 300 feet is as accurate as you could possibly get, because the Earth has constantly shifting and moving forces that are randomly acting on the surface of it at any given point in time.
There are various tidal forces working on the Earth which are constantly causing it to distort its shape by up to 2 or 3 or 4 or 500 feet. So we never would be able to get more accurate than 300 or 400 feet, because the Earth itself is changing shape. And if we were to measure it every year for the next 10 years, we would get 10 different numbers.
And as it turns out, this number, 43,200, is actually not random at all, nor is it a coincidence. Remember how I mentioned earlier that the 8 sides of the Great Pyramid are only visible on the equinox? Well, if you calculated the number of seconds in a day from sunrise to sunset, that number would be exactly 43,200 seconds. Seriously, do the math. Meaning that every 1/43,200th of a day, or exactly 2 seconds, the Earth rotates a distance that is exactly equal to the perimeter of the base of the Great Pyramid. That's not all. The radius of the Sun is 432,000 miles. The Earth wobbles on its axis exactly 1 degree every 72 years, a multiple of 432. And the inner chambers of the Great Pyramid have a resonant frequency that's in sync with the natural vibrations of the Earth. This resonant frequency is 400.
Oh my god.
So, as you can see, whoever constructed it had an advanced understanding of math, astronomy, and Earth's geophysical properties, seamlessly incorporating this knowledge into every minute detail of the Great Pyramid itself. Leading to the question, why? Well, that answer could possibly come from taking a closer look at the inside chambers of the Great Pyramid.
On Fiverr, you can find the perfect freelancer to help you publish your book. But you probably already know it.
In 1994, a man named Robert Bivol released his book called The Orion Mystery, where he outlined his theory that the 3 pyramids of the Giza Plateau may actually have a deeply rooted connection to the Orion constellation, more specifically, the 3 stars that make up Orion's belt. He points to the fact that when viewed from above, the size of the 3 pyramids, along with their positions relative to each other, are an exact mirror image of Orion's belt. Additionally, when you look out of the southern shaft of the King's Chamber on the equinox, the shaft points directly towards the belt of Orion, but not in present day. This only occurs if you wind back the skies exactly 4,500 years, right around the time when the Great Pyramid was built. Ironically, this same phenomenon is found across the globe in the pyramids of Teotihuacan, Mexico, where the layout of these Mayan pyramids from an aerial view closely resembles both Orion's belt and the Great Pyramids of Giza. And when you take all of this into consideration, along with the unanswered questions regarding how the pyramids were built and Khufu's highly speculative connection to it, you have to ask yourself, if the Great Pyramid of Giza wasn't a tomb,